keep an eye on when we have storms coming in is the Sewerage and Water Board and New Orleans, and how our drainage system is going to handle the inundation of rain. Alyssa Curtis is joining us live this afternoon and getting an update from the Sewerage and Water Board, and Executive Director Ghassan Korban is with you, Alyssa.
Yes, that's correct. We're here at Sewerage and Water Board. Like you guys said, anytime we're getting a rain event, whether it's just a normal storm or this is not a normal storm, a hurricane, we do want to check in with Sewerage and Water Board. So I do have Ghassan Korban here with me, Executive Director. Thank you for joining us. Tell me a little bit about where the capacity stands right now.
Well, we are in a very good place today. We have 70 megawatts of power, which is a self-generating power that we produce. And that's many, many more watts that we ever need. Typically at a peak demand, we need about 40 to 44 megawatts. And that's specific to the older part of the city that uses the old technology and relies on the self-power, generated power. The rest of the city, like the Northeast or Algiers or the West Bank, relies on energy as the main source of power. And in those cases, we're obviously monitoring, we're coordinating very closely with energy and working on making sure that they are fully aware of our situations across. And then we've tested our backup generators in case we have an outage, of course. So we are in very, very good standing. It's probably as good as any capacity we've had for many, many years. And in terms of pumping, across the city, we have 24 pumping stations, and we have 90 of those pumps that are available and operational out of the 99 in total. So that's also a good number, and what gives us a lot of confidence that we'll be able to manage a decent amount of rain.
Talk to me a little bit about, we always hear when there are storms, there's a certain amount of rain that we can handle for a certain amount of period, and then it goes down to, after that time period, it goes down to, I believe it's like half an inch after a certain amount of time. Tell me a little bit about that. Talk to us, explain what does that mean?
Well, yeah, it's all about the intensity. So our capacity, as a rule of thumb, can handle about an inch of rain that first hour, and after the soil is saturated, we're down to about a half an inch per hour thereafter. So if the rain comes steady for half an inch, we can handle it for indefinitely. It's the challenge is the intensity and the duration, correct? So if we suspect that we're going to hit hard on the front end of the storm, and we may be getting about 4 to 6 inches. So it's that duration of those rainfalls. So there'll be a time where we may not be able to keep up with that intensity. And obviously our mission shifts from just keeping the city dry from draining it as fast as we can. Yeah. So we've been in that situation before, but with all the power that we have that's available and the pumping, I think we should be in good standing.
This is obviously not a normal Tuesday storm. We are expecting some pretty heavy impacts. So I'm expecting, I know we heard from the city yesterday, there may be some street flooding. Talk to us, you mentioned kind of like the switch over to draining it as fast as possible. On your end, what does that look like? I know there's not really a specific timeline that we can expect. Hey, if we get this amount, it'll take X, Y, and Z to get streets dry again.
Yeah, there's really no exact or perfect formula. It depends on how much rain we get again, and how much backup we experience across the city. And then we can then move to, again, as long as we have all 90 pumps that we need are working, we have the power, we should be able to drain the city in a very short order. So just remains to be seen, but we're very, very confident. We're working on staffing all 24 pumping stations, or at least monitoring very closely to make sure that we can respond in a very short order should something happen. I mean, obviously we run a very mechanical system, and so we're trying to anticipate and be ready to respond to any situation that we may face during the storm.
You mentioned the collaboration between Entergy and Sewerage and Water Board. This type of storm, it takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of collaboration, discussion. What does that look like for you guys? What does preparing for something like this look like for you guys?
So we coordinate very closely, and we do a couple things in anticipation. In this case, we anticipate high winds. So in that case, we anticipate possible outages hopefully short-lived, but nonetheless. So in anticipation of that, we switch our power from Entergy to one of our turbines, Turbine 6, which is a newer turbine. And that allows us to rely more on that for drinking water and to operate the plant itself. And that kind of gives us a peace of mind in terms of, diminish the chances of any outage and its impact on us. Beyond that, what we talk about is, in advance, we have to communicate as fast as we can with them, and then they committed to us that we are top priority for them in terms of restoring power should we, suffer with an outage.
So what is, I guess, your overall message? What should we be telling our residents, the people watching right now? If we were to sum this up, where do you guys stand? How are you guys feeling?
Again, we feel very confident we're going to do our job. Obviously, starting tomorrow, stay off the road. If there's no need for you to be on the street, on the road, just stay home until, told otherwise, because that makes everybody's job easier. And you reduce the risk, and with the city suspending, parking rules, you can park on high ground. So take the safest spot you can, protect your property, and let us do our job.
Thank you so much. Again, 90 out of 99 pumps are working. Sewerage and Water Board says they're confident, they're in a good place. Of course, with the amount of rain that this is expected to bring to our area, street flooding is likely. We know this. We know what happens in a normal rainstorm. So, of course, with this not being a normal storm, we're going to see some of that street flooding. But again, Sewerage and Water Board does say they're in a good spot. So we're going to keep communication with them and stay in tune with them so we can get any updates that we need to, and then of course bring that to you guys. But for now, reporting live at Sewerage and Water Board, Alyssa Curtis, WWL Louisiana.